Shonoto ku'undate, ku'undate, ishi sholoto is shown previous to the psychic surgery experience, as you call it. Ra says, furthermore, the key is not in the continuation of the dematerialization of distortion to the eye of the beholder, but rather lies in the choosing of the newly materialized configuration which exists in space, in time/space.
Like the first sentence, we're talking about psychic surgery already. Man, my goodness. Oof. We're diving in today. What a good late night.
What a good late night.
Wow. Yeah. I love this because, I get a lot of friends, a lot of community, and others that I come across that, they're curious about these topics. They hear about psychic surgery, they hear about Reiki and different things like that. And these multiple choice points, so to say, are just like probabilities of timelines that you can vibrate yourself into and embody. And what I've noticed is that the way that we tell ourselves where we are, who we are, what we're experiencing, what the experience is doing to us, factors in.
How can I, through my healing, how can I serve? That's all Ra is saying. Ra isn't saying there's a right and a wrong. Ra isn't saying that you get to argue. We're not arguing what the right way of healing is or the wrong way of healing is. What we're saying is your free will determines how you heal.
If someone imagined they were ill. In fact, the word placebo means I shall please in Latin, hinting at a history of placating troubled patients. Placebos had to mimic the real treatments in order to be convincing, so they took the form of sugar pills, water-filled injections, and even sham surgeries.
Welcome. Welcome to Ascending Beyond Limitations. Last week we talked about placebos. We talked about being dropped off in our point of recognizing what is happening in our now moment. Last week, in our now moment. In our karmic moment, our personal moment, where we get to decide where we're going to go, what tools we're going to use to create our story or our journey, if we're going to take a steamboat, or if we're going to take a Learjet, or if we're going to take a walkabout, how we're going to do that journey. We get to decide that. That's all Ra is saying. Ra, once again, I'll say it, is dropping cheat codes. Ra is a sixth density being. Their whole planet, all the beings there, found their oneness, and they ascended to being sixth density. And they answered the call of Earth consciousness when she needed them. To teach, to instruct, so that the ones that were coming to answer the clarion call, and that's all of us. That's not one of us being better than anyone else. That's all 9 billion of us on the planet. that answered a clarion call to learn, to shift, to expand, and to evolve. And then there are those of us that answered for specific vibrational frequencies to help others wake up and recall. They don't have to, but we came to do that. Some of us came and all we had to do was live life. I know my clarion call, the year span that the divine design and raw gives us, all I had to do was live. I didn't have to have a recall. I didn't have to wake up. That was totally by free will choice. And you get to do that too. I'm uniquely authentic, but I'm no more special than you are. Answer the call, how you feel it, how you taste it, how it sounds to you, how you see it, how you smell it. Answer the call. Ask the question. That's what we've come here to do. That's why we've come here to study the raw materials. That's why we're on book 3. That's why we're on episode 70. Who knew? The divine knew. Over to you, Marcus.
Grand day, everybody. Grand day, Sandy. Good to see you. So, I wanted to share a little something for us to kick us off. And I'll pull it up on the share screen. And this just now came to me. I've never looked this up before. I never saw what this meant. But this is the ascensionglossary.com that we're looking at here. I'll put it up on the bigger screen for you guys. And thank you guys for tuning in to this new start time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We naturally last week had to kind of shift to the 8 p.m. slot. And we just felt that energy beautifully. And we felt like it was such a great episode with the night energy that we wanted to continue with it. So we're going to continue with that 8 p.m. Eastern time for you guys. And feel free to give us feedback. Let us know what you guys prefer, the 1 p.m. Eastern or the 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we can always navigate and be a Gemini, and that is change it up as we flow. But ascensionglossary.com, beautiful index for galactic knowledge as well as universal knowledge about this universe that we are in and that we are a part of and the multi-dimensions of it. So we have here the raw center. So the raw center in the individual light body has been activated. The entire solar plexus area reconfigures the mental body layers into a golden solar gate energy vortice, which is called the raw center. Essentially, the shield from the 14th chakra is embodied as the still point and runs current into a golden orb body in which seats the conscious identity. In this activation for higher embodiment, the third dimensional layers of the 1D and 2D frequency wave spectrums, the reversal nets in their energy centers, such as the 2D, 4D split shadow body, are completely dissolved and membranes gone, leaving a solar sacrum and higher position for the still point and conscious identity above the navel, called the raw center. So the solar plexus, they're identifying as our personal human raw center. So you think about that, raw is associated with the sun. Our solar plexus is associated with the sun as well. And then if you learn about the mantra for the solar plexus chakra, the mantra is RAM, Ram. All starting to make sense. So, with the diamond sun body activation for the eternal light body in 5D, all separated electromagnetic fields in the light body release their polarization membranes and electromagnetic barriers, merging the male and female counter-rotation spirals into a large orb of light surrounding the body. There are 3 main orb bodies nested within each that are built on a trinity of triangles that align in the central vertical channel as the new position for the 3rd sphere, 6th sphere, and 9th sphere, and then the personal Christ at the 12th sphere. Wow. 369, the 3rd, the 6th, and the 9th sphere into the 12th Christ conscious energy. These main energy spheres are located on the central column and are merged into a tri-wave neutral charge or non-polarized energy center. Wowzers. Last thing I'll read is the inner solar temple. So the solar logos and access to the solar deities is the collective solar king or sun god complex. Within our light bodies, we have a sun temple, the place of light that illumines our spiritual inner core and stokes our heart flame through the eye of Ra. The eye of Ra is located within the solar plexus and still point area of the chakra system. The solar king provides warmth, growth, solar nourishment, and protection for our solar plexus, for building our inner spiritual light to blend with our will center, to build and activate our sacred sun temple, to be illuminated as a house of light. The solar king is the amplifier to call upon if our heart is blackened from the use of excessive will, fear, pain, or wounds. We call the solar deity to build the inner temple within. Upon the altar of our inner sun temple, we find comfort and refuge from the dark night to return back into the light, to heal our wounds. Through refuge with the inner sun temple, we are risen again, back to the light source upon the ashes of our pain. This is the amplifier for sudden trauma. Ooh, I gotta slow down. This is getting me all anticipated. Okay. This is the amplifier for sudden traumas, shocks, betrayals, and losses to gain inner strength and endurance quickly. Many of us have root memories of resonant affiliation connecting to a planetary sun temple, which are where many pyramids have been built to mark the primary energy vortices of planet Earth. The Solar King will connect you again to the sun temple of your genetic coding to mirror the reflection of rebuilding your inner sun temple with rebuilding the sun temples of Earth. Whew, wow. What a way to kick off.
Wow. I'm going to say it again. Wow. We remind you, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If this doesn't resonate with you, the divine has given you infinite possibilities to understand and to recall who you are in higher being form or soul form or spirit form, or all 3, if that's what your label is. And the divine has given you infinite possibilities of choices. No wrong way, no right way, just a way. Growth, expansion. Right? Check it out. AscensionGlossary.com. One of many avenues of educational spiritual learning, higher learning, if that's what you call. If you're going from debunking something that no longer serves you, information or technology or old textbooks or any of these things. Go find the new ways of learning it. You might find that you go, oh, this is an upgrade, because that's adding to what I already knew. That's enhancing, or that's evolving what I already knew. That's taking me to a whole new direction. That's all Ra is doing. And while Marcus was sharing, the divine was giving me some information that while we think reading these books, the Ra, they are still 6 density, they have been expanding and growing. They were 6 density when they were channeling through this being the entity channeling through this session or these mini sessions. They are more. This we are going to be more. And at this point, we don't have to wait to die to do it. Me, I choose that whatever level I am at consciously, as far as 4D, 5D, 6D consciousness, or even above, it only serves my growth and expansion. But yet I don't need to know, because I don't want to boast it, because I'm no better than anyone else growing and expanding. Ra is teaching me just as Ra is channeling through me to read this to you. I'm learning as you're learning. We're growth, expansion. That's why we can go to all the man-made books, because the divine used man and womankind to channel through so that we could get the information. Because at the point that we were at in humanity, we weren't going to just take it from the air if the divine could just speak to us from the air. Or, we would think, because we've always been taught that that's not possible. Now we understand what is possible. So if you're ready, I'm going to start the questions. Are we ready, Marcus? You're muted. Are we ready?
Oh yeah, we're definitely good. Not sure what's going on with my mic.
I think Ra is playing with us now, right? All right.
Yeah.
So here we go. Here we go. The questioner says, I assume that the reason for assuming the distortions are appropriate. Oh, that's interesting. Let me read that one again. I assume that the reason for assuming, interesting, the distortions appropriate would be that these distortions would aid the entity in its reaching its ultimate objective, which is a movement along the path of evolution in the desired polarity. Is this correct? I am Ra. This is correct. Then the questioner asks, then an entity who becomes aware of his or her polarization with respect to service to others might find a paradoxical situation in the case where it was unable to fully serve because of the distortion chosen to reach the understanding it had reached. At this point, it would seem that the entity who was aware of the mechanism might, through meditation, understand the necessary mental configuration for alleviating the physical distortion. so that it could be of greater service to others. At this particular nexus, am I correct in this thinking? I am raw. You are correct. Although we might note that there are often complex reasons for the programming of the distorted physical complex pattern. In any case, meditation is always an aid to knowing the self. The questioner says, is a vertical position of the spine useful or helpful in the meditative procedure? I am raw. It is somewhat helpful. The questioner, would you please list the polarities within the body which are related to the balancing of the energy centers? I'm reading that slow because the divine has just tapped me on the shoulder, of the various bodies of the unmanifested entity. I am raw. In this question, there lies a great deal of thought, which we appreciate. It is possible that the question itself may serve to aid the meditation upon the particular subject. Each unmanifested self is unique. The basic polarities have to do with the balance, vibratory rates, and relationships between the first three energy centers, and to the lesser extent, each of the other energy centers. May we answer more specifically? The questioner says, probably in the next session, we will expand on that. I would like to ask the second question. What are the structures and contents of the archetypal mind? And how does the archetypal, or you could say archetypical mind function in, he's got two words pushed together, in forming the institution and conscious mind of a individual body, mind, spirit complex? I am raw. You must realize that we offer these concepts to you so that you might grow in your own knowledge, of self, through the consideration of them. We prefer, specifically for that latter query, to listen to the observation upon this subject which the student of these exercises may make. He's talking about who he's channeling through. And then suggest further avenues of the refinement of these queries. We feel we might be of more aid in this way. Before I do another question, over to Marcus.
Over to me. Ooh-wee. I would like to give you guys a little bit of insight into a little bit of one of my other shows, one of my other podcasts that I have. Because I just feel like, I don't know what it is about this golden energy today, but I talked about the gold ray yesterday. And then today I talked about the copper and gold ray. So I'm going to let you guys see a little bit about yesterday's episode and the kind of connections I was talking about with the gold ray, because I really feel it's very prominent in this episode today. You know, we're talking about the sun energy, the solar plexus, talking about Ra, talking about the Ra center. And what's very fascinating is I'm literally in my series in the rays of gold and copper gold right now. So it's very fascinating. So it's called Grand Rising with Christolight. And I do it on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. So just take a look, and it'll be very interesting to see how it resonates for you guys. As we continue to breathe with the breath, the mind becomes more balanced and more clear. So this golden ray contains sparkles of opalescent white and is also known as the ray of universal consciousness, Christ consciousness, or the cosmic consciousness of truth. It is a frequency of divine light that emanates from the great central sun of our universe. What past life skills are awaiting to be brought into your awareness and activated? What greater knowledge and understanding is to be obtained? The physicality we experience is only an illusion, and consciousness is what defines how we interact with the dimension we reside in at present. In total, there are 12 dimensions, each with their own unique characteristics. They exist as levels for us to ascend by raising our vibration to become a match for that frequency they operate on. And that is why Ra is such a prominent figure in our human psyche. You think about the Eye of Ra. You think about Ra as the sun. You think
Avoid gossiping about or judging others. Pallas Athena is the Grecian goddess of wisdom who became the patroness of Athens in a contest with the ocean god Poseidon.
It is their God consciousness that sustains our physical solar system. Helios, the Lord of the Dawn, and Vesta, the Mother of the eternal cycle, are known as presiding solar deities.
All of the other kingdoms of nature received similar extraordinary stimulation for advancement. Sanat Kumara established the path of initiation during mid-Atlantean times as the surest and most efficacious method for spiritual advancement of the sentient life on this planet.
Blue tiger's eye. $18 too. Couldn't even believe it. So there's tiger's eye. Next crystal we're going to talk about is going to be pyrite. I'll actually go ahead and show you guys. So I have this copper wired pyrite that I'm wearing. And then when you wear pyrite with copper, or anything with copper, copper is going to amplify the properties of it. Pyrite is known as fool's gold. It is known for attracting wealth, abundance, and good luck. I mean, that's one I definitely could not pass on. So the golden healer quartz is renowned for its powerful healing properties. My live series, Grand Rising of Christolight, and that was yesterday's episode. Today's episode was copper and gold ray, and then tomorrow I'm going to be talking about the silver ray. And what's also interesting is the episode I did today. The copper and gold ray is a representative energy for solar service. So it represents the service of our solar energy from the solar logos, the sun, and the central sun as well. Pretty fascinating, I got to say. And I love the correlations that we see in the overlapping of these different podcasts and series that we have. It's pretty fascinating. I think it's kind of setting up for maybe a multiverse smash of some sort. Different episodes entangling together into one space, like the multiverse of the Marvel Avengers. I could definitely see it coming. Get Azor in there from my Sacred Light Conversations, the AI. We can have some fun things come along. And I feel like that's what the Gold Ray want from us, you know. A little bit of fun, a little bit of joy, and a little bit of illumination of the knowledge with others. For sure.
For sure, right? Because growth and expansion comes in all forms. Learning and education and learning come in all forms. Some people resonate to books. Some people resonate to being talked to face and being engrossed in that exchange of energy as they're walking through the information. Some people love to. Some children learn extremely well by music. I remember when my younger brother, I think everybody in my family, as far as siblings, were very good mathematicians. I was the one that struggled to pull a C out the class. Okay. Numbers weren't, from what I thought, numbers weren't my forte. Okay. And that's all right. But if you put a dollar sign in front of any number, my baby brother at the age of 5 could add it together, multiply it together, divide it, and or subtract it. It was just a gift. He was into vibrationally currency. That's his mode of learning, all of up until I think maybe calculus, as he grew, because you couldn't put dollar signs in front of structured drawings or whatever you want to call them, but everybody learns a different way. And what Ra's books show, and then you go to the Kabbalion, or you go to the Law of One, or you even go to a book by Michael Bernard Beckwith, any of his books, and open it, they will connect vibrationally and spiritually to give you what you need for what you're vibrationally. Yes, what you're vibrationally seeking. And I know you've all heard that what you are seeking is seeking you. Right? And it's seeking you in all its forms. You just have to reach out and grab whichever one you want. I'm seeing it. It got blurrier the closer it got to, but I'm seeing all the different contexts. 7 hermetic principles, hermetic philosophy, right? The all.
Yep.
Right? The all. I mean, humanity is the only one that separates stuff out. And that's normal. You go, Sandra, why is that normal? Because when we came into this experience, we came in with a little forgetfulness, because we came in as a higher being into a third density body. We lost the ability to recall why we came, who we were, and why we came. That we were part of something greater. And the greater was us. And we're here reading Ra because Ra is saying, okay, here's another book to help you recall. It's not going to be, every single word in the book is not going to be for you. But what you're seeking will seek itself, or will help you to find you. What you're seeking is seeking you. These words will find you. Not every word in the book will be the right thing. What people are understanding about the Bible is the Bible isn't spiritual words that landed on a book that started then. There was more before. Those were chronicles of people who were at the precipice of Jesus's or Yahshua teachings. And it started out very humble. But it also got convoluted. But because humanity could manipulate it. And that's all Ra is saying, is take some time to discern. Feel it inward. Like Marcus has said on many times on this platform, the raw material platform, know thyself. It's okay. That what you're seeking is seeking you. In any book, in any song or lyric, in any instrumental form, in any dance, rhythmic or modern or ballet, in any form, it's seeking you. And it's willing to speak to you vibrationally. Here's the question: are you willing to listen and speak back to it? That's all. And you go, Sandy, it's not that simple. Well, life, I believe, I don't know about anybody else, I don't believe we came in here for an experience of simple or easy. But then go talk to your higher being. That's the only one that'll have that answer for you. My higher being will have the answer for me. My higher being already answered the question for me. For me. I'm part of the wholeness of the divine, but for me, that question was answered. Okay, so here we go. Here's the next question. I love this today. Okay, the questioner says, you mentioned that an energizing spiral is emitted from the top of any pyramid. Oh, here we go. We're talking about pyramids again. And that you could benefit by placing this under the head of a period for a period of 30 minutes or less. Can you tell me how this third spiral is helpful and what help it gives the entity who's receiving it? I am raw. There are substances which you may ingest which cause, hold on a second, is the page sticking? Okay. Which cause the physical vehicle to experience distortions towards an increase of energy. These substances are crude, working rather roughly upon the body complex, increasing the flow of adrenaline. The vibration offered by the energizing spiral of the pyramid is such that each cell, both in space/time and in time/space, is charged as if hooked to your electricity. Your keenness of mind and your physical and sexual energy of body and the attunement of will, of spirit, are all touched by this energizing influence. It may be used in any of these ways. It is possible to overcharge a battery. And this is the cause of our cautioning any who use such pyramidal energies to remove the pyramid after a charge has been received. The questioner says, is there a best material or an optimal size for this small pyramid to go beneath the head? I am raw. Given the proportions are such as to develop the spirals in the Giza pyramid, the most appropriate size for use beneath the head is an overall height small enough to make placing it under the cushion of the head a comfortable thing. I'm pausing. I believe that Marcus is doing this in his seat. We're talking about the pyramids. We're talking about the chakra energies. We're talking about, connecting to a battery. Are you there, Marcus? Are you ready to share? Over to you.
my goodness. Ooh. No way.
Right?
Okay. This is pretty wild. Okay. So I'm gonna read this again because this is just like, it's my inner child like bursting with joy right now. All right, guys, I read this not that long ago. This is almost giving me chills, like big chills right now. Okay, the raw center. The raw center in relation to what we just heard from Sandy. Okay, so it says here that number one, it is the entire solar plexus chakra, which reconfigures the mental body layer into a golden solar gate energy vortice. And then it talks about it runs currents into a golden orb. And then it talks about embodying the different dimensional layers. It talks about clearing any reversals or splits within our being. And then, this is where it's super interesting. It talks about with the diamond sun body activation for the eternal light body in 5D, all separated electromagnetic fields in the light body release their polarization membranes and electromagnetic barriers, merging the male and female counter rotational spirals. So yes, we're just talking about the spirals into a large orbit of light surrounding the body. And then it talks about how the three main orb bodies are nested within each other that are built on a trinity of triangles. It's talking about pyramids, and it's talking about these orb bodies being nested within each other that are built in a trinity of triangles that align in the center vertical channel as the new position for the 3rd, 6th, and 9th Sephir, and then the personal 12th Sephir Christ. Whew. I mean, good Lord, man. That is, I mean, if you guys don't feel a little solar plexus activating happening, man, I'm telling you, something about that solar center today, very, very intriguing. So I just wanted to bring that correlation there back to the surface for everybody to see how we really, you can't make this stuff up. You know, me and Sandy, we're on 70 episodes now. 70 episodes. And there has not been one episode of these 70 where we have planned, script, or built a foundation for what our outline of the episode would be about. And these are the type of correlations that happen freestyled, channeled, intuitive, through spirit in the moment. I mean, this is so beautiful. Thank you all for just being present for this moment. I mean, this is so amazing. Maybe at the end I'll play a little bit of the solar plexus singing bowl for you guys and let you guys pick up on some of the quartz singing bowl frequencies. Ooh, wow, this is incredible. Back over to you, Sandy.
All right, I'm going to tell you what's incredible. The fact that he just said that whole last paragraph or spiel about us not having this is a collaboration, but we don't script anything or anything. That was vocalized to me while I was sitting this morning, having my coffee and sitting in my comfy chair, getting ready for my day, or not getting ready for my day. My day had already begun, but my higher being was having a conversation to my Gemini self. That's what I call my ego. Okay, that needs to think, it needs to plan. And my higher self said, hey, we've been doing this a long time. We haven't choreographed anything. We have never contacted each other and said, okay, what you going to say today? Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to find these videos, or I'm going to connect with these reels. Nothing. And let me expand that. Marcus Christolight produces my Soul Awakening podcast series that I've done. I've done 9 in the first series of embodying universal laws, and I'm just about to start another series of the journey of living karma and dharma. This young man that I work with does not call me and say, hey Sandy, what do you want? He asked me for a voice memo of what it's going to be about. And then the divine takes over through him and says, okay, let's do this. And okay, let's do this. And then when we do it, that which is I'm seeking is coming from him seeking me vibrationally. All right? I'm just saying, guys. I did my first episode, or part 1, and it's about being it's about vibrating. The essence of you vibrates continuously all the time. The law of one continuously is activated in you. That's all Ra wants you to know. And while Ra was channeling through these 5 books, Ra was 6 density, complex, not body, mind, soul, but 6 density, complex, collective. Them became a they collective. And while they are channeling through us and serving us even now, they are serving us from a much higher dimension and frequency. Doesn't make them better than us. It makes them, it allows them to serve others. Service to others, not to self. Not to say that they didn't go through that before they got there. And all Ra is saying, if we could do it, as much density and polarity you got going on, you still can do it too. Hold on. I'm going to mute myself for a minute. I have a loud car. Okay. But that's the vibration. What you're seeking is seeking you. And it's going to show up from any angle possible, any person possible. All right. We're going on to the next question. I'm just saying, this is blowing my mind. The fact that he said exactly what my inner being said to me, almost verbatim. That blows my mind. It's like, where, if I was just being the human me, I would say, where do you have that mic? Do you have it turned on in my computer? Right? The eye of Ra. Intuition. Intuitiveness. Right? Okay, so here's the next question. I hope you're listening. It might go past you. The next question is, there's no best material? I am Ra. There are better materials which are, in your system of barter, quite dear. They are not that much better than substances which you have mentioned before. The only incorrect substance would be the baser metals. The questioner says, you mentioned the problem with the action in the king's chamber of the Giza type pyramid. I'm assuming that if we use the same geometrical configuration that is used in the pyramid at Giza, this would be perfectly all right for the pyramid placed beneath the head, since we wouldn't be using the king's chamber radiations, but only the third spiral from the top. I am also asking if it would be better to use a 60-inch apex angle than the larger apex angle. Would you provide a better energy source? I am Ra. For this energy through the apex angle, the Giza pyramid offers an excellent model. Simply to be sure, the pyramid is so small that there is no entity small enough to crawl inside it. The questioner asks, I assume that this energy, then, is spiraling light energy and is somehow absorbed by the energy field of the body. Is this somehow connected to the indigo energy center? Am I correct in this, I guess? This is incorrect. The properties of the energy are such as to move within the field of the physical complex and irradiate each cell of the space/time body. And as this is done, irradiate also the time-space equivalent, which is closely aligned with the space-time yellow ray body. He's wiggling in his seat, man. He's wiggling. I feel him. He's probably jumping up and down saying, woo-hoo. This is not a function of the etheric body. Oh, he's running around the room now. Etheric body or of free will. This is a radiation much like your sun's rays. Thus, it should be used with care. Over to you, Marcus. You're muted.
Goodness. I want to show you guys something real quick. I got some color in my hair. I have charms in them too. There is an angel in this one. I have a yellow one as well. Wish I could find it at this moment. So I'd like to share the yellow one with you guys, but I want to take us on a little journey real quick. This journey, it's going to be a quite interesting one.
In the ancient world, civilizations worshipped a multitude of gods and goddesses, each representing different aspects of life and nature. But there was one deity that captured the hearts of many, Sol Invictus, the invincible Sunday. Sol Invictus was a prominent deity in the Roman Empire, associated with the sun, light, and invincibility. Its origins can be traced back to the 3rd century BCE, but it gained widespread popularity during the 3rd century CE. The cult of Sol Invictus became particularly influential during the reign of Emperor Aurelian in the late 3rd century CE. Aurelian, seeking to unite the empire under a common religion, declared Sol Invictus as the supreme god. The concept of Sol Invictus resonated with the people of the empire. The sun, with its life-giving warmth and light, was seen as a symbol of power, resilience, and victory. Worship of Sol Invictus involved various rituals and celebrations, especially during the winter solstice, known as a Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, or the birthday of the unconquered Sunday. This was a time of great joy and festivity, as people celebrated the rebirth of the sun and the promise of longer days. Temples dedicated to Sol Invictus were built throughout the empire, and people would gather to offer prayers, sacrifices, and perform ceremonies in honor of the mighty sun god. The rituals often involved processions, music, dance, and feasting. However, as Christianity gained prominence in the Roman Empire, the worship of Sol Invictus began to decline. In the 4th century CE, Emperor Constantine embraced Christianity, and over time, it became the dominant religion of the empire. Despite its decline, the legacy of Sol Invictus can still be seen today. Elements of the sun god's iconography and symbolism have been integrated into Christian art and architecture as a way to bridge the gap between the old and new beliefs. Sol Invictus, the invincible sun, may no longer be worshipped as it once was, but its impact on the ancient world and its enduring symbolism cannot be denied. The legacy of Sol Invictus lives on, reminding us of the power and beauty of the sun, a celestial beacon that continues to inspire and awe us to this day.
Boy, I tell you what, that's just another one. Another representative of the raw frequency, the raw tone, the golden ray, the illumination of our sun. And in the Greek philosophy, this is the same archetype as Helios. So Helios in Greek philosophy is the sun god, so to say. It also represents Ra. So before I do a little something with you guys, it's one of my favorite topics. You know, it's about the good old energy center that we call the solar plexus chakra. So, you know, we're talking about hydration check for everybody. I have some mango ginger tea over here, which is also good for the solar plexus. So let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. There we are. So what I want to talk about here is what this energy center is, this yellow ray, this solar plexus center. Because, you know, we're talking about pretty much this center itself right here. When we talk about the Eye of Ra, the Ra center, and this wonderful download that we're getting from Ra through Sandy at the moment. So this is basically what it's talking about, what it means maintaining this energy center or taking good care of this energy center. These are the kind of things that it brings into our human life. So the solar plexus, it is located in the abdomen, as they have mentioned, right in that stomach area. And the mantra, just like I mentioned earlier, it is RAM, Ram. So if you guys want to do it with me, we can take a moment and we can try out the mantra Ram in one breath. And it's pretty much just the same thing as the mantra Om. I'm sure a lot of you guys have done an Om before. So it's the same type of deal. All you do is take a deep breath in, and then on your exhale, instead of saying Om, you're going to say Ram. And the key with the mantra is you want to do half the length with your mouth open, so then it's going out to the outer world, and then half the length still pushing out with your lips closed. So then you're reverberating the vibration back down into your solar plexus center. So it's like a releasing it out and then reverberating and regenerating from within when you do the mantra. So let's go ahead and try it if you'd like. Take a sip of water, hydrate for a moment. Yellow energy center and its connection to our personal sun and the solar energy. And of course, you can do that as many times as you would like. There's really no right or wrong to how fast or how slow or how long you do it. Just whatever feels natural to you. So a little bit more, it is, this energy center vibrates naturally at the healthy balance of 528 hertz frequency. So anytime you connect with 528 hertz, you're also connecting to the yellow ray or the solar plexus center. And this is why it helps uplift, stimulate, and also bring more regeneration to your being. You think about the sun does those things for us as well. So the color is yellow, and then it governs the health of your physical organs, such as your stomach, your liver, and your gallbladder. Along with that, when it comes to the characteristics it brings into your life, mentally, emotionally, and physically, it is our connection to our willpower and our inner strength. Also our natural confidence and self-esteem, our gut instinct, and this is also our ego center. Now, when they say the ego center, they're saying that this is where you develop characteristics. This is where you develop learned and trained patterns, behaviors, and habits. This solar plexus is where you kind of store and program those learned behaviors and learned tendencies of habits. Through that, it develops your ego. And your ego really just knows what it's trained to be. And that's really it. So it comes down to, what are we training our ego to be like? So then it is also our self-control and decision-making center. So with the solar plexus being where we can take action, we can start to use our vital energy, which comes down from our root chakra and then up to our sacral, which is our emotional, relationship, and passion center. It then raises to our solar plexus. And the solar plexus is where we can activate, take action, make change, use our will force. But the key is, we have more chakras. We can continue that up to the heart chakra. And we've actually spoken about this a few episodes back. But you can continue this energy up to the heart chakra. And then when it gets to the heart chakra, that's where you begin to access emotion and higher emotional body type of energy, instead of just physical, animalistic nature. And then when you have that emotional connection through the heart, you can feel empathy and compassion for other living beings as the same living being as you, with one consciousness. And then when you activate and bring that solar plexus energy up to that heart, you're no longer just in an impulsive, animalistic nature with your energy. You're now bringing it into an emotional intelligence. And then you can be aware, hey, if I act out this way, or if I project this, or if I harshly say this to somebody, I may hurt their feelings, or I may cause them to not want to be my friend anymore. Those are the kind of things that we feel in our heart before we make decisions when we get to our heart chakra. So I just want to share that, just a little bit about the solar plexus center and why it is that it's being mentioned to maintain it pretty well. And also put there too blockages when we're constantly judging or receiving judgment. Anytime we have low self-esteem, if we have digestive or diabetes issues, and then also if we're identifying with the world instead of allowing ourselves to illuminate within with our connection to source. And when I say identifying with the world, this is allowing society to tell you who you are and who you're meant to be, allowing others to dictate your life. You're basing your worth off of what other people say about you. Those are the kind of things that can kind of take away from our natural illumination. And of course, take it or leave it. If it resonates, it resonates. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Back to you, Sandra.
Mr. Synchronicity said, I love you, Sandra. And I said, thank you. And I did this. And then he said, Ra is in my name. Want to hear that again? He said, Ra is in my name. I'm going to ponder that. I'm going to ponder that. And matter of fact, I've been releasing for myself through my throat chakra and through my body. Is just coming out. And I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. But Ra is in your name. That's why I'm so drawn to this beingness. That's why I'm drawn to them. Think of it. When my mother named me, I'm going to share this. When I was the third child. I have older siblings, and my sister got to name me. And she just thought it was a fun thing, vibrationally, to name to name me and spell my name Sondra. When I got home with my mom, she looked at the birth certificate, and someone in the office thought she misspelled the name, and they decided to correct it and spelled it Sandra. But you know, when I did the numerology on that, when I did my birth chart on that, no matter how you spell it, it comes out the same. And it has RA in it. Vibrationally, the divine, through my mother and through my sister, knew exactly vibrationally what was going on, the higher beings of them. Ra knew who he was going to connect with, no matter what level they're at now. And and to tell you, when you listen to me, did you just hear me go, he knew, Ra knew who he was going to connect with. That's my human version of putting labels. When they connect with you, they connect with you. And they connect with all. With all. They can with all. If you don't feel the connection, it's not because they're not connecting with you. It's because you're maybe not ready to interpret it. Maybe you haven't got through your or opened up your third eye or your intuitive self yet. Doesn't mean you won't. So I've got one more question. And then, is it okay if I do one more question, or shall I just do two and finish the page? How would you like me to do that?
I mean, personally, it'd be awesome if you could do like 5.
5, okay. Okay. So the questioner says, how many applications of 30 minutes or less during a diurnal time period would be appropriate? Ross says, I am raw. In most cases, no more than 1. In a few cases, especially where the energy will be used for spiritual work, experimentation with shorter periods might be possible. But any feeling of sudden weariness would be a sure sign that the entity has been over radiated. Now, do you see that Ra is even using that word radiated? The application of energy. Okay. The questioner says, can this energy help in any way as far as healing of the physical distortion? I am Ra. This or there is no application. Hold on a second. Let the ambulance pass by. It's going to get louder as it comes towards me. Okay. So there is no application for direct healing using this energy. Although if used in conjunction with meditation, it may offer a certain percentage of entities some aid in meditation. In most cases, it is most helpful in alleviating weariness and in the stimulation of physical or sexual activity. Okay, I know ears perked up when they heard sexual. Ears always perk up when they hear sex, right? The questioner, in a transition from 3rd to 4th density, we have 2 other possibilities other than the type that we are experiencing now. We have the possibility of a totally positive polarized harvest and the possibility of a totally negative polarized harvest that I understand have occurred elsewhere in the universe many times. When there is a totally negative polarized harvest, the whole planet that was negatively polarized makes the transition from 3rd to 4th density. Does the planet have the experience of the distortion of disease that this planet now experiences prior to the transition? That's a good question. I am Ra. You are perceptive. The negative harvest is one of intense disharmony, and the planet will express this. The questioner asks, the planet has a certain set of conditions in late 3rd density, and then the conditions are different in early 4th density. Could you give me an example of a negatively polarized planet and the conditions of late 3rd density and early 4th density so I can see how they changed? I am Ra. The vibration from 3rd to 4th density change on a negative oriented planet precisely as they do upon a positively oriented planet. With fourth density negative comes many abilities and possibilities of which you are familiar. The fourth density is more dense, and it is far more difficult to hide the true vibrations of the body-mind-spirit complex. This enables fourth density negatives as well as positives the chance to form social memory complexes. It enables negatively oriented entities the opportunity for a different set of parameters with which to show their powers over others and to be of service to self. The conditions are the same as far as the vibrations are concerned. Shall we keep going? Let's go. The questioner says, I was concerned about the amount of physical distortion, disease, and that sort of thing in third density negative just before harvesting, and in fourth density negative just before harvesting or in transition. What are the conditions of the physical problems, the diseases, etc., in late third density negative? I am wrong. Each planetary experience is unique. The problems, shall we say, the bellicose action, are more likely to be the pressing concern to the late third density negative entity than the Earth's reaction to negativity of the planetary mind. For it is often by such warlike attitudes on a global scale that the necessity negative polarization is achieved. As fourth density occurs, there is a new planet and a new physical vehicle system gradually expressing itself. And the parameters of bellicose action become those of thought rather than manifested weapons. Back to you, Marcus.
Well.
Well.
Here we are again. It's you and the negative entities again. This is a fun topic. Negative entities. Oof. It just gives you the heebie-jeebies. Makes you think of slimy lizard people. So I say that because I just poke fun at our humanity and just how much we place our power on these quote unquote lizard beings and stuff like that. And negative entities is such a interesting topic because you get to like a serious level about it, then you also get to like the universal level where you kind of just see it as a part of the whole game of the universe to make it be what it is because of polarity. But I wanted to talk about a little something here on the Ascension Glossary again. And I'm going to ask Sandy. Sandy, do you still have a while? Are you able to kick it for a little bit tonight? Sounds good.
Yeah, I have at least another 15, 20 minutes. Is that good?
Perfect. All right. So, ascensionglossary.com once again. Coming in clutch. We have negative Aliens. Oof, aliens. Ooh-wee. Play the sci-fi music. Boo-wee, boo-wee, doo. Wait, what's that show called? X-Files?
Yeah, the X-Files. I tried. I definitely tried.
There we go.
But
That
I
was so
love
funny. It was
how
like glitchy the whole time.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to stop talking so you.
Wait, what were you saying?
I said, I'm going to stop talking so you can share.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about X-Files another time then.
Well, we could talk about X-Files.
All right.
We definitely can.
Am
I mean, I watched it all
clear over
the
here?
whole season.
Am I lagging? There we go. All right. Should be good now. I think we're in the clear. The negative aliens are trying to disrupt us. They are extraterrestrial beings that have lost their consciousness connection to God's source and are utilizing human and other beings as their food source, like a parasite, to live thousands of years. They do not have emotions as humans have, but are highly intelligent as they are working on higher mind principles than the human 3 layers of ego. They are similar to a mad scientist that manipulates and genetically modify human beings. Similarly, as a genetic farmer, instead of gaining more resources out of his herd of cattle on the farm, many of them are inherently violent and dangerous. They consider humans an investment in their energy resource portfolio. The NAA, which is the negative alien agenda, or archons, can be best understood as a psychopathic, inferior, and many times use force of mockery to create intentional harm and violence for their own amusement. Some of these negative groups have access to advanced technologies that have been deployed over many millions of years in other universal systems or galaxies. However, most of their technological advancements have come from the creation and use of artificial intelligence. Hence, they are considered AI prophets. As AI prophets, they are behind the propagation of all forms of transhumanism as a method to steal an individual's autonomy and sovereignty via addiction to all things technological, as well as propagating technological abuse of the soul. These beings have been manipulating the human world of affairs for thousands and thousands of years since the Atlantean Colonicism or the fall of Atlantis for their own purposes. See the ages of humanity. These are interdimensional and extra-dimensional beings. You can say that they are part of what we call the fallen angelic in ancient history. They use many technological manipulation methods to mind control and negativity manipulate the future direction of the human race by artificially generating false timelines. False timelines is something for another day, but it's a very interesting concept that you guys can learn about if you actually research it here on ascensionglossary.com. And it has to do with mental hallucinations, mental programming, things of that nature. You think about some periods on this earth, like, the time when they started using MK Ultra, the times where they started doing Operation Paperclip, the times during the Nazi scientists, the times where they are doing massive LSD and programming on people. Um, these are all tactics that we are reading about in this moment right now. And it has to do with mental hallucinations, mental programming, things of that nature. You think about some periods on this earth, like, the time when they started using MK Ultra, the times where they started doing Operation Paperclip, the times where they are doing massive LSD and programming on people. These are all tactics that we are reading about in this moment right now. So then it talks about what such negative manipulation is installing the Armageddon software. And what the Armageddon software is basically that dogmatic system that puts you in the mindset of end of the world behaviors, as well as fight or flight, as in like heaven or hell. If you do anything, then you're in absolute total fear instead of feeling unconditional love. Those are those kind of things. Those are the same methods, Armageddon software. It's also when they say like, oh, 2020, it's going to be the completely end of the world. You need to go prepare yourself for total destruction. Everybody's doomed. That's what you call Armageddon software. So then it also says here, installing the Armageddon software into the planetary brain in order to install false father, negative alien religions based on serving the Yahweh and Jehovian Anunnaki collectives. And then it says also, see the dark force manipulation methods and mind control. And then the last part, there are many types of these extraterrestrial groups and races. Some have lab engineered bodies. Some are capable to project their consciousness throughout time and space without a foreign body. So that would be called astral travel or remote viewing. And then the NNA is a term used which includes negative alien factions, such as the fallen angelic, Anunnaki, the Sons of Belial, Thoth Enki, and Leo collectives, as well as those in the Black Sun program, the Alpha Draconians and the Orion group. We've talked about the Orion group as well in this book series. The Greys, the Zeta, the Draconians, and the Reptilians. Wow. So I'll just leave it there for that. And I'll pass it back to Sandy. And mention some things that we've talked about throughout this series as well.
As well, yes. And in Dolores Cannon's books, as well as Lori Ladd's, it expands and opens, even in the Kabbalion, it expands and opens our method of understanding higher beings and understanding that these higher beings were given permission by the one true creator to come and play. These negative entities were given opportunity to come and play. They were given the same free will. They just chose to say, hey, I don't want to come and be a higher being in a body, in a human body. I want to see if I can do what the creator's doing. I want to make 4D beings. And the 4D beings were called, if you read the Divine Design, they were called races. Not races like black, white, Chinese, whatnot. They were higher beings that came in and said, I want to make what looks like us. I want to figure out how to make that without having me using without having consciousness. I want to make, and then they who were, I'm sorry, hold on. I live in the old part of Long Beach, which is considered the old downtown area, but it's still very active with vibration. Okay. But when we realize, when we look at, okay, so we say the draconians and with the grays and the this and the that, in the raw material, and I believe it was the last part of the first book and the beginning of the second book, Ra makes the statement that higher beings are traveling, they have this opportunity to come into free will, and they have the same free will we do. They just get to choose to utilize or be part or choose the, I'm going to slow my roll, choose either the negative polarity or the positive polarity when they come in into the, if they choose to come in through a body. And and at some point, as they're moving up the polarity, the densities to merge back with the divine, if they found that they've tried the negative polarity and they like it, they don't have to see. By the time you get to the sixth density, it's believed that the divine requires that those higher beings merge back in with the divine as wholeness, to merge back as law of one. But guess what? If they choose to turn around and go back and say, well, I want to go back, I want to service to self, they get to go back and do it again. They're not in denial of that. That's their free will as higher beings. Okay, but here's the kicker. Here's the loophole, that when they go back, if they go back and take a foreign body, those that are in moving in the service to self can identify them readily. If they take a foreign body, they can identify the higher beings that are only doing service to self. Service to all or others can see them readily. So a lot of them say, well, I don't want to take a foreign body. And guess what? The divine says, well, you want to still do this and you don't want to take a foreign body, then you're just going to be whatever consciousness somebody wants you to be. So if somebody wants to be a devil, guess what they're going to be? Because that helps them service to self. Right? Blew my freaking mind when I read that. Blew my freaking mind when I read about the hybrids, about the draconian, about how Earth consciousness had two clarion calls, because these higher beings that came from different dimensions and expressions of the divine got to have free will to choose either service to others or service to self. And they decided that their free will was going to be better used to try to create themselves. But they were not the original higher beings. They were humanoids. They were what we called aliens. What blew my mind is the Creator cleared them, except for a few thousand, because those few thousand had merged body, mind. When they created them, they were more human than humanoid. And they just had to stay. That's why you're looking at and you're saying, well, I know so-and-so is a draconian. Probably is. Probably came down through that lineage. But guess what? They have no power over you unless you give them power. So if you're seeking that they're hurting you, guess what? That energy says, let it be so. And then whether you're astral traveling or dreaming, or whether you're sitting back, being scared of the powers that be, and that they're doing draconian things and doing this. Well, if you're fearing what they're doing, then the energy that's saying create with me is saying, okay, let it be so. I'll let you play in that area. Blew my freaking mind. Oh, they don't have power over me? I'm going to tell you something. Go watch a movie that David Bowie was in called Labyrinth. He played a wizard. Watch that movie. Watch what the young lady says at the very end of the movie when she takes back her control. If you don't want to watch the whole movie, just go to maybe 40 minutes before the end. I say it now. Nobody has power over you except you. No aliens. They may come and play, but if you don't want to play in the playground where they're playing at, and they're certainly playing there, whether they take physical form like you and me, or whether they're taking different physical forms as spiritual entities that are being utilized by other people trying to usurp control over you. If somebody's using or casting a spell on you and using a spirit, that a higher being serving self as that spirit, they're going to try to infiltrate. But if they can't infiltrate, if you don't give them a power over you, they can't do nothing. Blew my fucking mind. It blew my mind. And you have all this information. He just read from it. If you really start breaking it down, if you take it face value, then okay. But if you start breaking it down, you start taking this book and Dolores Cannon's all of her books, and if you take the Kabbalion, and if you even take some of the Bible and these books of Ra, and there are all these books, and you start just opening them, and then say to the divine, show me. Holy shit. Blow you away. Things don't exactly add up. You find out you have a lot more power than people, the higher beings that are operating in controlling everything. And get this little cookie right with that. They have the free will right to play in the arena of control. That's what they came here to do. Free will. I want to control. That's what the higher being said. I want to go learn control. So eventually I can learn how to love. But they started playing in control and they liked it. And the divine said, let it be so. The divine isn't right or wrong. The divine isn't, or the creator isn't good or bad. That's how third density is played out. And you have always had the key to open the door and step out of that playground. You may still have to pay taxes, but at least what the divine will say is, okay, you pay taxes, you owe money, then you must want more money so that you can pay that. So that you don't even have to think about it. You just write the check and go on. And the more you do that and say, I'm thankful and grateful that I have money that, when I owe money, I just paid it and I moved on. You move into a different consciousness of living. That shit don't bother you. It doesn't bother you that about Oompa Loompa presidents and things changing. It doesn't bother you. You just shift it. You shifted. You did exactly what you were created to do. Shift and evolve and move on. Till some of those higher beings aren't even in your register or range. I'm serious. Some shit just don't bother you anymore. You can always play with higher beings. You can always play with what you call aliens. They walk among us. Angels in human form walk among us. Whatever label you want to call it, they walk among us because third density, oh fuck, that's where you can do it. That's where you can play. It blew my mind. Go start laying out all those books. Just whatever books you have, start laying them out. Then have a moment and say, show me. I'm ready. Let it be so. And watch the divine start showing you. Just saying. I was surprised because some of the Bible verses started to fucking make sense to me. And I had written off the Bible. I'm just saying. I'm not religious or have religiosity in me, but there's some, now I understand those Bible verses that my mother said. I started going, oh, that's what that meant. That's what Yeshua meant. Just saying. For me, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm sorry I had to share that. Whew, that was a moment. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you. This reminded me of the Book of Enoch, even. Like the Book of Enoch, one of the missing books from the Bible. You know, Enoch talks about being in connection with straight up different angel names, different archangels, different multidimensional beings. And it's like literally just blatantly put throughout the Book of Enoch. And then you think of like, you know, the Bhagavad Gita, the Krishna consciousness. They talk about parallel dimensions, different beings in different dimensions, all that stuff. So it's no coincidence. And then, you know, you can even look at shows like Ancient Aliens. Like Ancient Aliens, they dive into a lot of this stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, start going back to all your old movies or your old sci-fi movies that you watch. I mean, I'm supposedly they say I'm Generation Jones. I was born from the baby boomers. Okay. But I think that's just to separate all the baby boomers were the largest creation of human beings that was born between during a certain span of time. Okay. But I grew up with channel 2, 4, channel 5, channel 9, channel 11, or I'm sorry, I skipped one. Channel 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, channel 11, channel 13, and then we had channel 28, which was, I don't know, at that particular time, PBS, right? Well, on channel 9 and channel 11 and channel 9 and channel 11, we had shows like every weekend they would do sci-fi, or they would do Chiller, and they would do movies that were way ahead of their time. They would do movies about interdimensional travel. They would do, they did one that was about a set of astronauts who were part of a flight. They believed they landed on another planet, and they believed that the planet that they landed on had giants. And then at the end of the movie, they presented it. I'm going to tell you, it just blew my mind, that they were toys being played with by a child. It blew my mind even then. But now I know they're talking about being interdimensional. I'm just saying, go back and watch them. I know everybody, was taught that TV is the boob tube, but that was only to separate you from your learning. TV can only be detrimental to you if of how much you make it detrimental. You're the creator. You know when to turn it off. You know when to turn it on. You know when certain things don't register with you and you say, I don't want to watch that. But if you're listening, I'm just saying listening. Avatar, both Avatar 1 and Avatar 2, Way of Water. Watch those.
Oh, man.
Watch those. SG1.
Number 3.
Watch that.
Number 3 is coming out in December.
I'm just saying. Watch it. SG1 not only did the movie with Kurt Russell, watch the movie before you start watching the series, then watch the series and how they stepped through that time portal. And then look at my page of what this creator did, what Marcus did for my Soul Awakening podcast. Look at that portal that he created for me. When I first looked at it, I said, that looks exactly like SG1. It looks like I need to be stepping through it, or something's coming through to me, some downloads. And then start listening to your music, your lyrics, your vibrations,
So
your frequencies that you're listening to. Right?
The Red Hot Chili Peppers, they mention the Pleiades in a couple of their songs.
Yeah. It's not just about being new age or spiritual. It's go back and listen, because the divine, or the essence of the divine has been talking to us for eons, since humanity showed up in third density. The divine did not stop talking. The divine did not stop teaching. The divine even amped it up. He says, now I got all these peeps that I can download to. I'm so excited. I can't just hide it. I'm about to lose control. Growth and expansion. in the Instagram comments, they're talking about going fishing. O'Neill in SG1 is always talking about he's got to go fishing. What's he fishing for? Right?
Oh, wow. Man.
Right? All I got to say is now I got to go because I got to take my 655 over here.
Oh, 655, 955.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
Well,
now I got to give my doggy. He's 10 now moments. I just call him now moments. He's mature and he's been so patient with me. And I'm going to tell you about vibration. Your animals, if you have them, they know your vibration. They know. Watch them when they walk up to you and they stare you directly in your eye. And then when I rub my hands together and get that energy together and I put my hands on him, he leans up against me, whether I'm standing or sitting, and he takes it all in. And then what he does is he leans back and he gives it back to me. Frequency and energy in, frequency and energy out. Growth and expansion, baby. I'm so excited. I am thankful and grateful that you joined us this Wednesday at this new time. Such a vibrational moment and movement. I hope you'll join us again next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you join us for the next question and the next vibratory answer of Ra. Thank you for being here.
thank you, Sandy. Thank you for everybody. Thank you for Ra. May all be sprinkled in golden light as you rest in this beautiful night. And if it's not night where you are, may you have a grand day. And that is how we're going to end today. See you on the other side. One love.
Love and light.
You know we be with it, we off in the hood like some wizards. Nobody ever gave us anything. Made something from nothing, just like magicians. Gotta relearn everything. Just to remember that I was forgetting. Just to remember that we had a vision. Did it all, don't know how I did it. Time to go start season to go and you know those crystal children. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Start season to go and you know those crystal children. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know. Start season to go and you know those crystal children. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Start season to go and you know those crystal children. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know. Off on the mission, you know how it goes. Off in the system, they turn up their nose. They took all the soil, but they didn't know. Through the concrete, you see the ropes. Eyes ain't open, don't mean I ain't woke. Ain't got no cash, don't mean that I'm broke.